Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to RedPill in Arabic. I'm your host, Badr, and today we have an honorable guest, Miss Meera from Canada. Miss Meera, assalamu alaikum.
Salam.
So, Miss Meera, due to our previous discussion, which is today's topic, which is men versus women in the shadow of East and West. Yourself as an Arab Canadian living in Canada, so you have the two sides of the picture, right? So as you know, it's a RedPill channel, and we are concerned about having these bridges between the men and women in terms of understanding each other. Our goal is to achieve happiness for both parties. And as you know, we have our different way of thinking, which caused some of our problems, which led to MGTOW and other movements, feminists, etc. So as a start, before we go deep, a short introduction about yourself, about your educational background, about your interest in the female, rights, and then we'll go on from there.
Okay, yeah, sure. So my name is Meera. I live in Canada, as been stated. I'm currently in my last year of my master's, and I've been applying to the PhD programs that I want to go into the English PhD program, which has been a nerve-wracking process, to say the least. Very long application process, but it's worth it, I hope, in the end. And I'm 23 years old.
MashaAllah, العمر كله إن شاء الله. Now, first of all, we're friends, so there is no hard feeling, right? So we'll start to talk simple. What do you think about the feminist movement?
I think there's different levels to the feminist movement. I think it's like the first wave feminism, for example, was very necessary for women's rights and women's independence and their personal liberty. And then, of course, we had like the second and third wave feminism that I think dealt more with like social issues, like gender, dynamic problems between like men and women, the family, So for me personally, it gets kind of conflicting because I identify with what I would call myself would be like, basically I describe it as a form of traditional feminism. So of course I do believe in feminism to a certain extent. I think that a woman should have her own money. I don't think a woman should completely have rely on a man for her source of livelihood. I don't think that women should not be given political or equal legal rights. But at the same time, the traditional aspect of it comes in that I think that women's power lies more in their traditional femininity. So that goes to the way that they behave in the presence of the man, to the roles in the home. I don't think that there should be blurred lines between the two. I think when it comes to like the micro, like home gender dynamic problems, it should be more traditional gender role based as opposed to progressive, personally.
Okay, I hear you. So don't you think that might cause a conflict or issue in terms that you see you're trying to merge both sides, being a traditional woman, your power, as you said it, because it's true, woman power relies in being true feminine. Similarly, men, their true power isn't being masculine, isn't being protective, isn't being supportive. So we cannot fight that. It's innate in us. It takes, I don't know, if we want to change it, sometime it will take hundreds of millions of years. It's been there since the beginning. That's us. and it's very hard for us to change it. We could modify it to make it perfect, suiting our new, let's say, humanity have been progress through time. And now the mentality that we have, both of us, differs some from that from our grandfathers, right? So we do have some changes, but they are basics, and we don't want to fight these basics. So when you talked about women working, earning her own money, I have two small questions. And please open your heart and take it easy, because we want to really address it in an impartial way. We want to really solve the problem as much as we can. Talk about myself, for example. I am sort of Eastern and Western man. I lived in the West for almost 12 years, and I am an Arab. So we share, although I am not living in the West, but I do have an understanding. So now when you say, I marry a woman and I want to support her financially, right? I want her to have our children. She wants to stay at home, take care of the children, take care of me, take care of her family. How do you see that working with a woman working full time, earning her own money, which she keeps for her own self? You know, women get irritated when a man asks her to participate in the house expenses. Do you think that is fair for both party and the family?
Right. So to answer one point you made, so basically, back in the days, it was more easier for women to stay at home and be completely 100% traditional, because their male counterparts were very traditional, and they fulfilled their roles in being providers and taking care of their children and their wives. But nowadays, it's a bit of a risky situation for a woman to completely depend on a man financially, because men nowadays are not like men back in the days. They're not as trustworthy. They're not as reliable. You know, oftentimes it's even been kind of vague whether men back in the days were completely it was completely safe even back in the days, because we do hear stories of affairs back in the days happening a lot, and domestic abuse happening, and also just an increase of depression in housewives. But because men nowadays, they don't want to fulfill their traditional roles generally here in the North America. They don't actually want to be providers. They don't want to have a housewife. The trend now is to be more of a business partner with your wife. And because this is the trend now, if you're looking for that 100% trad con relationship, you either have to find a very unique man in a certain remote community that encourages that, or you are going to suffer. Because in my neighborhood, for example, I live in a predominantly white neighborhood. There's only one other Arab family here. And that Arab family, the wife is not educated. She's a housewife. She only has a high school degree. And she fully relies on her husband, who is, I hope they don't watch this. I don't think they will, but he's terrible.
I'm sure they will understand.
He's a terrible man. He's so cheap with them. He completely dictates everything. She can't even wear makeup. She can't even wear nice clothes outside of the house.
So his mate garden?
Sorry?
His mate garden, his wife, which annoys her? Mate garden?
Which is terrible. Yeah, his idea of mate guarding is basically she can buy nice clothes, but she can only wear nice clothes inside the home. She can't wear them outside of the home. She can't, he's also very cheap with her. Like, she has a problem where she's very, very excessively hairy, which is like an obscene amount of hair. And she asked her husband for $200 to get laser surgery, for example, and he wouldn't even give her $200. That's like nothing. And she doesn't even ask for anything. Generally, she's just happy with like him doing the bare minimum, which is food, or so she says. But she complains all the time, like he's really not a good man. Because nowadays, Like if you really want to take on that traditional role, you either, you can find a unique man who's rich and who isn't a, won't abuse his power, or more commonly, you will fall into the trap of my neighbor who is living a very unfulfilled life.
So just to comment on what you just mentioned, two things. First, this mated garden, sometimes for men, we are protective, and women expect us to be protective. You see, if I had a wife and I was walking with her in the street, and let's say she was dressed in a way provocative and inappropriate, and some guy made a comment or harassed my wife, there's two options. The option A, the guy ignore it, bow his head down and move because he don't want to have troubles. The other option is the man will fight, possibility jail, imprisonment, getting fired from the job, or the other person get killed. So for men, because they're more rational, they want to avoid this, because if he do the first option, bowing his head down and leaving, the woman will never respect him. Do you agree?
See, like I have a father, of course, and when I walk like down the street with him, sometimes, like very rarely, like most men, they're gonna not really say anything if they see you walking with another man, because they respect men more than you. So they really won't say anything if most of the time if you're with a man. But the few odd times that somebody did remark something with when I was with my dad, he would just not fight with them. He would just, basically have something to say back, and then we just keep it moving. But I just want to clarify that dressing provocatively is different than dressing nice. Like my neighbor, she's not dressing provocatively. She just wants to dress respectively. Like she wants to dress femininely. She's not asking to wear like tube top and like mini skirts. She just wants to wear like
I
to wear
understand you.
makeup, to like dress like nice, and he won't even let her do that.
I understand, Meera. But do you understand that every family have their own privacy, have their own thing? We as an outsider, we have no idea what's going on, right? The couples know what suits them. And it's a contract, it's like a business thing, right? If I did work in a company, right? And I do like the company, although it has some problems. Well, long hours, the pay is not good. But overall, I do like this company. I will accept the law and the terms. So sometimes managers are really assholes, if I might say, although I'm not supposed to say so, but I have to say it. But they do that for a reason. They want to control their people, right? So the thing is, a man is responsible for his family. I know you will not agree with it, but it's our culture, our religion, it says so. كلكم راعي. All of you are shepherds. Everyone in charge of his own, team. So the ruler in charge of the country, the governor in charge of his city, the man in charge of his family, the wife in charge of her children. It's a hierarchy that works from the beginning of the time. Sure, we are partners. Men and women are partners in some area. I don't know if you knew, but I used to train for a pilot. I used to was planning to be a pilot, so I did have my license in pilot. I did study so much in my life. So in a pilot, we have two seats, left and right. We all have the same controllers. Everything are 100%. But we have a system in riding airplane. When someone ride airplane, he said, my plane, your plane. Who's taking the main control? It's all connected. When one moves the yoke to the left, the aircraft is all connected hydraulically. But we have this thing. We don't want conflict in case of emergency. Whose plane is it? Usually it's the man on the left. We call it a captain, and the guy on the right called first officer. So I give the authority, although I can do the work. I'm a first officer, right? But out of respect, out of system control, it's your plane. Same for family. You take care of the family. You don't understand how much the importance of a woman in a man's life. Joe Bernard Shaw, your literature major, what did he say? Women, of a quotation, women governs everyone because they govern who govern everyone. So the man is the big guy, the king, controller. And who is controlling him is the woman, his wife. If you read through the history, modern or current history, so many rulers were controlled by their own wife, hidden behind the shadow. The big guy is the man, woman controls him. Because we love our women, but we are men, we are strong. We have this innate nature in us. We want to protect our family. It hurts us a lot, breaks our heart when someone looks at my wife or my girlfriend in a dirty way. We are different. So if a man respects his woman, he wanted to dress modestly. Of course, a woman sometimes say, well, it's not that bad for you. But I'm a man. I know what's going on. I know how men look at you. A father is different from a husband. Probably a father says, well, maybe this guy one day will propose if someone look at you. But for a husband, it kills him. You agree?
I can definitely understand that perspective, but I don't think the solution to that sort of dominating jealousy is in like forbidding your wife to ever look beautiful, and that's like really hurts her self-esteem. That really hurts her. Like her life is short. Just to mention that, like life is short. It's too short to just like wear lounge clothes and have a bare face just because you have a domineering husband who can't stand the idea of another man finding you attractive. That is just not the solution, though.
Well, Meera, I feel like I could talk with you for hours. But the thing is, we are set only for 20 minutes and it's almost done. But I'm sure the audience will have many questions to discuss next time. So till then, have a beautiful day and we'll talk soon. Take care.
Thanks, shukran. Ma salama. That encourages that, or you are going to suffer because